What is up, guys? It is Zach, and welcome back to my channel. New background, I didn't expect to have to film, but this is actually the study in my grandmother's house in England, because as you guys might know, I'm in the UK right now, seeing family and doing a bunch of stuff here. But I can't not make a video about this. A new Nintendo Switch revision has been announced. Now, I'm not going to call it and clickbait you and say it's a Switch Pro, because that's not what it is. If you're coming into this thinking it's going to be this upgraded, absolutely next-gen almost Switch, you're going to be sadly disappointed. But obviously, I personally had no expectations when it comes to a new Nintendo Switch model on what they would bring, so to me, this is all good news. So please, no negativity in the comments. I've seen quite a bit of people like nitpick on Twitter, and it's just like I get it. I nitpick at a lot of things Nintendo do, but this is a good step. This is a step in the right direction for them, you know, especially with some of the features that they've added here, and it's something that we should be able to be like, yeah, like, you know, like good on you. Phone companies get away for selling you phones every single year for $1,000 or more. Meanwhile, Nintendo adds $50 more, making the price $350, and people are like, oh, well, let's examine this. It's not 4K, it's not this, it's not that. Just shut up. Just shut up, okay? For some people, this might be their first Switch. For some people like me, this is going to be an upgrade. If you don't want this Nintendo Switch, you don't have to get it. So without any further ado, I'm going to start going into the details of this new Nintendo Switch, including the new features and the price, and yeah, let's just get right on into it. Firstly, this new Nintendo Switch is coming out on October 8th, which, if I am not mistaken, that is the same day as Metroid Dread, which I think is an interesting decision. I mean, I personally think it would have made more sense to launch alongside the new Mario Party, only because obviously the Nintendo Switch is a very like gather your friends around and like have all that, like, you know, the family come around kind of console. So I think it would have made more sense to launch it next to Mario Party and maybe have like a bundle version of it, maybe to sell it for a few more units. And, you know, because Metroid Dread is a single player experience, and to me, it's like Metroid struggles enough with sales as it is. I don't think you want to put a console on the same day as it. I think that can make the launch of Metroid Dread just a little bit more difficult because, you know, some parents might be getting Nintendo Switches for their kids. They're, you know, they might want to get the cheaper games. They're not going to say, oh, this new game here. Or maybe the opposite will happen. Maybe it'll be like, ooh, this is a new game. Let me get that for my kid. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see on that, but yeah, it is a bit, like I said, it's a bit weird that Metroid Dread and the Switch OLED version come out the same day, but, you know, whatever. There are two versions of this console that'll be coming out, which is the Neon Red, Neon Blue, and the White Edition. Now, the Neon Red and Blue are basically the exact same visually as the original Switch model, except there are some visual differences on some stuff, which I'll get into later. But the white version, I'm not gonna lie, the white version looks kind of clean, and that's the version I'm gonna be getting. I mean, I have the Neon Red and Blue version, so that's already that. But yeah, the white dock and everything just looks so clean. And they showed off the box of what the console comes in, you know, like, you know, just the box and all that. And I think it looks really cool. You know, it's definitely a lot different than the box design of the past. But either way, I think, you know, the packaging, it looks really cool. And I think the console itself looks really cool in both colors. So one of the big features, at least for me here, is the new 7-inch OLED display. Like, some people might be like, okay, what's a bigger screen gonna do? Well, firstly, it gets rid of a lot of the stupid bezel that the original Switch models have. You know, it reduces that by, I think, at least like 50%. Like, it takes away a lot of that extra blank space, and it just makes it look, I don't know, just a lot better. But also, because of the fact that it's an OLED display, the games, even if they are, you know, 720p, they're going to look so much better on this OLED screen. Darker colors are going to look more dark, brighter colors are going to look more vibrant. It's just going to look so much better, and people will be like, oh, you know, it's a 720 screen, whoop-de-frickin'-do. But if you think about it, you know, people are like, oh, it's not 4K, or it's not 1080 in handheld mode. Because of how small the screen is, the pixels are more condensed together because of the size of the screen, so that doesn't matter as such. I mean, as long as it's not like 480, you know, pixels or whatever, it's 720, it's still a decent amount. So I feel like people, you know, who might say, you know, it's not really improved, you're not, like, right, but you're not wrong either. It's an OLED display, so like I said, it will look better. And finally, they changed the freaking kickstand. The kickstand looks so much better now. The kickstand, like, it goes fully out from the back, almost like, like the Surface, the Surface computers or whatever. I don't know, I don't have a Microsoft Edge or Surface or whatever it's called, but, those laptops that are like tablets and they have a little kickstand. Yeah, that stuff. It looks really, really cool, and you can adjust it in so many different ways. It's not like the original Switch model. We have that little flimsy thing, and it can only be set at one angle. You can set it at whatever angle you want, and it looks super, super cool. I personally don't play in tabletop mode very much. I just have no reason to. It's either TV or handheld. But for people who play in tabletop mode, this is probably a huge deal. Because now you won't have to fight, especially if you're taller or if you're shorter and you can't get the angle right and how you're looking at the screen. It'll probably make it so much better and so much easier for you to play these games. And honestly, that is super cool. And I'm super happy for the people who play in tabletop mode that now have this experience. The new dock is freaking amazing. Firstly, the overall design of it, before we go into the new features added into it, it has a more rounded design. It's still got that rectangular thing, but at least in my opinion, it looks a lot more rounded, particularly at the top. And I think it looks great. The dock in general just looks so much more aesthetically pleasing, at least to me. Just because, I don't know, I think they just modernized it a little bit. There's not too much different with the visual design of it. But if you look at the back, you can see there's like a little cool design thing they do in the back. You can even take the plate off at the back rather than, having to deal with it being, taken, unfolding it, whatever. It looks really, really cool. I love how it is. But I think one of the biggest things they've added to this system, say what you want about the system not being 4K, but you can finally plug an Ethernet port right into your Nintendo Switch rather than having to worry about getting a stupid dongle to go along with it. So if you prefer wired play, you can just hook an Ethernet port right into your Nintendo Switch. And yes, that's something that should have been there day one, but honestly, this is just a huge quality and life improvement. And I know specifically for Smash players and people who play games that, you can't have any latency, this might be a big deal. And it could even help with the Nintendo Switch Online. It could help make connections better if more people, especially since it's a peer-to-peer connection, if more people are using the Ethernet port. That would be amazing. That would help the online service because, you could talk all you want trash about the Nintendo Switch Online service because, yes, it is definitely bad. But it all has to do with the fact that it's a peer-to-peer connection. As long as everyone just has a really good connection, you're fine. So giving everyone the ability right out of the box to plug in the Ethernet port right into the Nintendo Switch rather than having to deal with a stupid dongle is amazing and should not be understated at all. And thankfully, they doubled the amount of internal storage in the Switch itself. So the system itself has gone from 32 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes. Now, if you have like an Xbox One or an Xbox Series X or a PS4, PS5, that doesn't sound like a lot. But Nintendo Switch games do not require as much space. So yes, you'll still probably want expandable storage. Like you still probably want an SD card for your Nintendo Switch just to give yourself that more storage, specifically if you're into digital games. But it just feels like, like a huge upgrade from the 32 because I personally 32 for some games it's literally one game. If it's a third-party game specifically, it's usually one game digitally at least. I mean that's why I always just prefer to be a physical gamer because I don't have to worry about the whole digital space thing. But it's not a huge upgrade, but it's still a huge deal, particularly for someone like me who doesn't buy digital games very much, but still needs a little bit of that space. It's honestly really nice. Next up, apparently this Switch model has new speakers in it to make the sound better. Now, I don't know much about audio and what kind of speakers are in it. I don't know. But particularly if you're playing in handheld or tabletop mode, you'll notice that the audio quality coming out of the speakers will be a lot better. And I'm really, really happy for people like that. Actually, even I'm kind of excited about that because every time I play like Nintendo Switch games, I always feel like the Switch is very quiet. So I really hope that it boosts the volume a little bit, makes it sound a bit clearer. And yeah, I'm really interested to hear what it sounds like. And of course, this model of the Nintendo Switch is compatible with everything from the previous Switch, being Joy-Cons, accessories, chargers. They even went and said the dock, the original Nintendo Switch dock will work with this new Nintendo Switch, and vice versa. If you have the original Nintendo Switch, it'll work on the new dock. So that is amazing, simply because it's so much easier to market this, rather than saying this dock won't work with this Switch, but it will work with this one, and then the original Switch doesn't work with the new dock, but works with the old one. It would create such a big marketing fiasco. It would almost be like a Wii U situation level bad, probably. But I personally think that's awesome that it's compatible with every Joy-Con, every accessory, even third-party, just everything. There might be some updates you have to do if you want to make your old Switch work on the new dock, or the new Switch work on the old dock. Like, there will be like a system update that lets it work like that. But nonetheless, it is still really cool. And the price point at $350. Some people are complaining that it costs more than the original Switch, and I kind of get that. I feel like they should have dropped the price of the original Switch to $250, and then have this OLED version come in at $300. But $350 still isn't a bad price for all the things being offered here. Like, literally all the stuff I just mentioned. Like, all of that for $50 extra. Like I said earlier, phones get away with selling $1,000 phones every single year, like Apple and Samsung. So, 4 years after the original Switch dropped, a really good revision coming out for it, after 4 years, I'd say it's worth a $50 increase. You know, you get all these extra features, you know, maybe games will run a bit better, specifically for someone like me, right, who only has the launch version Switch. I got my Switch on March 4th, 2017, so the original launch date of the Nintendo Switch. So for people like me, this is huge. You know, I didn't get the revision with the better battery life and, you know, the slightly better chip. You know, I didn't get that. So for me, this Switch not only has the things it's marketing here, but it'll also have the better battery life and all the other stuff that the revision from 2019 offered. So I think it's a really good thing Nintendo's doing this, personally. Mostly because it doesn't show that they're listening. Like, let's not go that far. It doesn't show that they're listening to the fans and showing us that they're giving us stuff that we want. But it at least shows that they're at least addressing the flaws that the Nintendo Switch has. Because let's be real, it has quite a few flaws, and the fact that quite a few of them are addressed here, being the bezel size and the screen quality, the audio quality, the lack of an Ethernet port, all of this stuff is being addressed, and it at least shows that Nintendo's making an effort to fix it, and that's the important thing. So, I would like to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I don't know what time it's going to be in the US when I upload this video. It'll probably be a bit earlier than my uploads usually are. I don't know. It's too much work for me to try to keep track of the time zones. But hopefully you enjoyed. And let me know down in the comments down below if you're going to get this new Nintendo Switch revision. I know I am. And let me know what you think. So, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All the stuff down below. Click on the notification bell so you're notified when I upload videos. And check out the merch store. There's some cool ZakPak merch up on there for you to check out. So, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.